Love is Blind UK Season 2, Episodes 5 through 8. My name is Rusenica. Welcome to this casual channel where we talk about anything casual or monumental in relation to pop culture, either events, reality TV, or music. I just reviewed Conan Gray's album. If you're interested, check that out. Anyway, today the focus is Love is Blind, all of these episodes. I cannot wait to get into what the heck just happened on the last couple of moments. I just watched it. I have my notes taken down. I'm going to talk about the standout moments of what stood out to me. If something stood out to you, but it didn't stand out to me, please comment it down below so I don't miss anything. We're gonna be going over these episodes kind of like FaceTime style, unedited, very casual. I'm just on my couch. If you hear my neighbors, oh my god, please don't mind them at all. They don't give a damn about me. They don't care about me. So they literally, I feel like they're trying to like break the roof. And you can hear anyway. Should we just get started? Please give me a like or a comment. Sometimes my videos do well, sometimes they don't. And if you could just give this video a like, comment something. If you're interested in this coverage, please subscribe. I very, very, very much appreciate it. And I appreciate you. Okay. So, episode 5. Oh god. Okay. Everyone's getting along and we're in shock about Megan not saying I love you. Because honestly, I had some like strong feelings about Katisha and Javen not doing the same. But when it comes to somebody who's likable, it's different. It's like different because you're like, shoot, how could you be so silly to be engaged but not in love, huh? But we'll talk about that as time goes on. But that's a little bit of a shock. So we go into Callan Sarover. I had been pronouncing her name Sarova because I think it's an issue of the fact that I feel like in their accents they say Sarover, but they don't have the American accent of pronouncing the ER. It sounds like so I had been saying Sarova because that's what it sounds like, but it's Sarover. So is it more natural for me when we say Sarova, even though it's Sarover, or me for to pronounce ER? I don't know. I mispronounced her name this whole last time. Let me know which you prefer, preferably if you're not American, because it's like that it isn't mad. Like, okay, so Sarover, Cal addresses his dating history as it relates to the fact that he had only really dated white British women. I really like the way that he handled that conversation because most of the time when it comes to, oh, I've only dated white women, it's mainly people trying to be like, no, you can't help what you like. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I only date women because blah, 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 in like a degrading way of people of color. You can't help who you like, but you can help how you communicate about it. And the way that he was saying it was basically just saying like, well, my proximity is kind of like a very white area, so that's just kind of what it has been. And also looking at his family, there's something also I feel like when you are raised around certain people that your proximity makes sense to them, to being around them, and then your dating history also follows. It's not a big deal, but I like the way that he handled it. It was great. Puts her at ease, and then also is like respectful. So we have Katisha and Javen. Every time I'm gonna bring them up, I'm just gonna be like, ugh. So Javen, um, so Katisha said Katisha kind of barely brings up the whole Cal conversation. At first, I was like annoyed at Cal for bringing it up because he brought it up like low key aggressively to be like, so what the heck was that with Demola? And it felt like it just felt so direct in a way that I was not used to. But honestly, somebody kind of had to say it, and if he was gonna say it in that way, that was a little bit harsh because we were all thinking it, I guess. Um, so it's like this conversation happens like a lot between them. So this is the first time that it was brought up. She brought it up to Javen and was like, uh yeah, so he asked me about it. And then Javen's like, yeah, he's just direct. And then nothing else happens from there. And there's so many conversations like that where there's so much that's unsaid between Katisha and Javen. And they just are acting like it's normal, but it's really avoidant. It's the avoidant tendencies of Katisha and both of them is like, it's just uncomfortable to see. I don't know, because it's like you guys are literally not saying anything and you're around acting like you like each other and you don't. Okay. Barada and Jed they kind of talk through the whole like dominant male, independent woman potential struggles for the future. So far they haven't had any issues, but that could be. Um the sexy hosts come in. Oh, they're so sexy. Oh my god. My takeaway from the questions that they're asking, they're like, so you guys are in Fantasyland right now, but the real world is gonna kick in. So how are we feeling about that? My takeaway is just that Ashley doesn't bring partners home, and Billy's gonna be the first boyfriend. Crazy. Javen is like, well, if we don't get married, it won't be the end. Oh, Javen! Did I say Javen? Javen. I've heard it both ways from other recappers. I should have just paid attention. It doesn't matter. Okay. She's like, you can't just like sort of be like, well, we didn't get married. Like you can feel that that's a valid thing to feel. It's like not just disrespectful, right? But it just feels kind of like, Javan, you're kind of, the whole undertone of like being together and like touching base with the couples is to kind of show your dedication to your partner. So the whole like, if we don't get married is kind of like unheard of. It kind of not breaks the fourth wall, but it feels weird. So, the boys talk, and my main takeaway from the boys kind of getting together and talking is just the whole blind side of it all, and Cal essentially kind of speaking truth into the fact that nobody saw it coming. They were really confused. And that's not the last time that the talk happens. We have Katisha and Ashley talking. Um, Katisha or Ashley's like, so what about the blind side? And then Katisha gets so overwhelmed that she starts crying about the social pressure, about the decision. She's like, it was a blind side for me too. But I feel like it all just comes down to the fact that it it felt so impulsive that it didn't feel even really like emotionally like responsible. It kind of felt like that just is what it is, like an impulse decision. And now it feels like they're not a real couple. Mm. Anyway, Javen and Katisha talk about the blind side again. This is the second time that they attempt to do this. Javen says, or Katisha brings up the fact that she and Ashley talked, and Javen is like, well, you're a grown woman and you make your own decisions, so let's just end on that. And then Katisha's like, yeah, yeah. And they don't talk about it again. It's like I'm saying they're bringing it up at a bunch, but there's like nothing really being fully explicitly said about this situation. And that's why I just don't, I think that there's so much avoiding going on. The second conversation that they have about this, the third actually, is Javen being like, well, I told him, don't worry before we broke up. And then Javen's acting like he didn't sit through their like breakup and was like, I'm just gonna stay here. And then that's how they got together. And he's like, oh, you said don't worry, which I get. It is kind of like a nah. Like she didn't mention that until now, so he's shocked, rightfully. But it's also kind of like, you like were about to be broken up with, and you kind of just saved your ass from being saved, from being broken up with. Don't act like you're like, oh, what the heck? I didn't know that. Come on, I don't know. I don't know. Like what the heck? Like Javen, I don't know, dude. It just all the I have more notes about them. I'm gonna get into them. So Billy meets Ashley's dad, and right as you see the dad, he has this long hair. The long hair makes him seem a little bit more like he would be like lax with this. Like he seemed like the type to be cool. And it's so uncomfortable because the way that she starts off, it doesn't feel like she's trying to sell the thing. It feels like she's just like, so this is my boyfriend. He's not, or this is not my boyfriend. Actually, he's my fiance. And it's like, how is anybody supposed to be like eased into, getting to know the person that you're in love with just like, this is not my boyfriend. He's my fiance. Ah, we're getting married. Ah! It's like, like I almost had secondhand embarrassment for Billy himself, because how does anybody work up to having a good impression after that kind of introduction? But it all turns out to be okay because he trusts his daughter, which then means that he trusts her decisions, and no matter what happens, he'll stand beside it. And that's how I feel like all of the family should be. You should trust the people that are connected to you enough for them to make their own like mistakes or good decisions. And you just kind of have to, I feel like that's, for the most part, that's how you have to back them. That's how I would back anybody in my family if they chose to go on Love is Blind. So I appreciated that. So we have Megan saying I love you to Kieran. Ah, so good. I also have that I really loved Callan Sorover's apartment. Oh my god. Also, they always go through the apartment checks in Love is Blind US. And it's like very clearly this is paid by production. This is like kind of generic decorations. I want to know more about that process because I feel like we don't really know about their housing situation. And they don't look like they all live in the same building, but they do in the US. So I would like a little bit more of like behind the scenes as to how that all happens because I feel like it's a very different process in the UK. Okay, we have Kieran and Meg, although I could find that out through like interviews. I don't know, we'll see. We have Kieran and Meg. I said the friend sequence goes on for a while. Oh, because I guess somebody. Oh, Kieran is meeting or Meg is meeting Kieran's friends, and the friends all really like her. I really liked their vibe of like accepting Meg with open arms. Um, then they have like a healthy amount of skepticism. The skepticism is kind of just like, you guys are kind of in this bubble now. Was this real? And I appreciated the fact that his best friend had a really good perspective on it to be like, I just feel like maybe like right now I can't really fully trust it. Maybe 6 months to like a year down the line, which is incredibly realistic to be like, I don't know, but yeah. And then also the fact that he's like, I know you and this doesn't feel, I feel like the skepticism sometimes can show in like ugly ways on the show, but a lot of these family members are handling it in a very trusting, easy way to digest. We have Javin, Javen and Katisha having their uncomfortable ass dinner. Whoa. They talk about the thing again. This is like the fourth time. And so Javen's like, I just want to do you just want to dead this and you can send a note to Demola? And then she's like, yeah, sure, whatever, sure. And then she sends like a closure text, I guess, for them to have a conversation. And he's like, I'm sending your life story over there. And that was kind of funny. But it just like every time they're around each other, I just don't feel chemistry at all. Anybody else agree? Please let me know. Um, So speaking of meeting, Cal and his family, sorry. Yeah, Cal and his family meet. I thought I was getting ahead of myself. Cal and his family meet what is her name? Sarover. And they're really supportive. Like it's so beautiful. And then in the middle of the meeting, they also show Katisha and Damola meeting. It feels like everything is kind of worked out for the best. um I will say that like it makes me not sad for Damola, but it makes me really realize like he's 100% correct in the way that this that if she had chosen him, he would have deserved better. He would have deserved better. Like Javen and Katisha are kind of a match made in heaven because she honestly put herself in that position knowing what to expect genuinely. Damola really deserves like somebody who's really going to be secure about him. And it it almost makes the turmoil worth it because it's like, well, we kind of had to go through this because like I have to be on this path of deserving better, and that's just how I feel. Anybody? How does anybody else feel about Damola in that conversation? I kind of felt like my king, like that's my king, and he just deserves the world. So we meet Cal's sweet grandma and mom. I already put that. Sorry. And then from the like Damola and Katisha meeting, Callan we see like basically a version of Cal talking his brother. Cal's brother has like also skepticism, but for the first time in the show, well, one of the first times in the show, maybe, we see that Cal is like, I don't think that you got it. I don't think that you're ready for marriage in this way. And so I kind of feel like she would be committed and you would not be as strong as her. Honestly, it had to be some random pretty boy's relative had to say that. Like, when it comes to what's his name, when it comes to that really Kieran, I am like in shock that Kieran is emotionally intelligent, mature, like committed. I feel like it whenever it comes to attractive people that are on that level of attractive, I'm like, one of these people just gotta be like not really what they're presenting. And I feel like thank God that his brother spoke some truth into this, because I'm skeptical of all beautiful people who just seem to be so down and committed to like this lifelong marriage of this thing that they found on reality TV. It's like, where's, feel like finally we're just seeing like from some realism. Katisha and Javen again. I'm like annoyed at talking about them, but it's also very much feeding me because it's dramatic. Um, talk again, and I didn't even write what was happening in their relationship. I just wrote it's just very clear that they lack substance and that the chemistry is barely there. Like, even though they shouldn't be together, it's like, why isn't the chemistry there? At least have some sort of passion that, like, I don't know. I'm gonna go on to Billy and Ashley again. Uh, the food shopping trip. The food shopping trip is so uncomfortable because it unveils that there is a difference in food habits between Ashley and Billy. Billy is a lot more regimented because of his job, and it only, I guess not, yeah, I was gonna say it only makes sense. Yeah, I guess it kind of only makes sense with his personality, or not with his personality, with the line of work that he's in, especially with military personalities. No, military people who make military a part of their personality. It really, I feel like in that moment, all made sense. But of course it triggers Ashley, and I really like how honest Ashley is, because she just is, she really wears her heart on her sleeve. And I feel like she brought how it was triggering for her. And I feel like anybody with an eating disorder, or somebody who was had to restrict themselves before, or felt like they had to restrict themselves before with food, that potentially could be triggering. Like, it was triggering even to me. I was like, oh my god, like, this is, I would hate to go to the grocery store and to feel like my partner is like, I'm only gonna have this and this and this, and then that's how I eat, associating words with like eating clean, being more regimented, being more organized. It just, I don't know, something with as delicate as food is like, oh, I would hate to be in that position. So I really did feel for Ashley, but I really like how like transparent she is. um then we, like, for some reason we go back to Meg and Kieran's date like 3 times like after we showed the first scene of them, but I love watching them. They have this like ballroom rented out for a dinner that they have, and it's so fun to just watch them have a good time. They have such good energy, they're such attractive people, it's crazy inside and out. That's just the thing, is when it's like the insides, honestly, with reality TV, it's kind of hard to believe that the outsides match as well. Like, woo! Like, I really hope they're doing well, and I hope that they're happily married, and I wish them the best. I wish them the best. They're my favorite couple. I think they're everybody's favorite couple, right? Let me know. Are they your favorite couple? Who knows? um, so Billy and Ashley post grocery store have a talk, and Ashley talks about being triggered about the control around food, as she has a good relationship with food now because she's kind of sought out the value in the fact that it helped her with, I guess, weight, which is an interesting story that's, I feel like, not really told that often. um but relationships to food are so delicate when you have had like past issues with it. And the fact that she's like, well, I do feel a little bit of a shame, that like the ability to communicate it like pretty much really soon to how you felt it is hard to do. And I just feel like that's such a good skill to learn, to be able to like speak on your feelings in a way that's not accusatory, and she does it so well. Katisha and Jav- every time I have to think about talking about them, they go to Javen's apartment, um and then they're kind of talking about their differences in schedule. And so Javen's like, yeah, man, I'm not gonna see you like 4 times out of the week because I like, unless you want to eat late. And then she's like, yeah, sure, I eat late. And she'll be like, yeah, sometimes I even get around to like 9 or 10. He'll be like, oh, well, in 10 I'll be in bed. Okay. So okay, so you just don't want to spend time with me? Cool. That's kind of what I took away from it, was like Javen being like, by the way, I do these things that are gonna force me not to see you. And she's like, oh well, I can adjust. And he's like, actually, no. And like, that not hit everybody that same way. I felt it very deeply that way. We go back to Megan and Kieran's dinner date. All good things, all beautiful, fun little things. I shouldn't have even mentioned that. They're just so happy. They make me so happy. Um, Billy and Ashley meet with the dad. Um, Billy's dad. I don't know why I didn't say it like that. So Billy's dad. The main takeaway that I got from that was just that he has this bias against stewardesses. And we already knew that, but it's a little bit hard hearing it from somebody else because it's like, shoot, this thing gets keep like this thing keeps getting brought up about the stewardesses, and we haven't even like been in real life enough to know what the heck is going on. I really feel like that is a genuine, valid concern from his end, but on Ashley's part, because she has no qualms with it, it's so hard for her, and I feel so bad about that for her because she doesn't deserve the like stress and pressure it's putting on her just for her job. Ugh, but it's valid from Billy to be concerned, is it not? Um, shoot. Okay, so then all the people meet up. All the people meet up. Biggest standout moment is just like, of course, Anu walks in. Not biggest standout moment in general. The biggest standout as I'm kind of covering this. Anu walks in. Everybody's saying hi. Patrick is already there. Anu is like doing her rounds. She sees Patrick. Patrick's like, Patrick. And she's like, eh! And walks away. Oh my god. Uncomfortable. And then I don't know who was it. Was it Cal who was like, "You can't do that," Anu? Yes, she can. Yeah, she can. If y'all saw the journey that she had with Patrick, I would do the same thing. She didn't even do it like that. She just kind of walked away. She tells the girls about the blind side of the spleen incident. Um, and then they meet up and talk about it, and it's just a bunch of like heated, passionate feelings, and that you can feel for. Um, it's a really interesting also to see like Anu and Javen talking like about their friendship because I don't know, like Anu just seems like she would be above somebody like Javen, but whatever. Um, yeah, the whole like you're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar. Conversation. I just don't want to go on it too much just because I feel like nothing of like incredible value or impact was brought up. And I feel like there are more important things to get to. Okay. So Kieran and Sophie talk, and everybody's freaking out about Sophie. Oh my god, she's so attractive. Oh my god, she's so fit, you know? Um, and I get it, she's like a beautiful girl, but there's just so much about Sophie that it's like, ooh, you guys, that she like goes against the whole entire experiment in the way that people are really changing their mind about her based off of her physical, forgetting that like they got to know her and were not interested for specific reasons. Um, and Kieran kind of talks and is like, "Hey, I'm so sorry about the thing that I did to you." And she's like, "Yeah, I found this interesting because I've never been rejected in my life. I've never been rejected in my life." And it's kind of like flaunting the fact that she knows she's physically attractive. It's like, okay, but where's the substance in this conversation? Of course there's none. Of course there's none. And then Javon and Sophie also talk, just like openly flirting, not even hiding it. She literally is like, "Oh, so you live like close to me?" And or he's like, "You live like close to me?" She's like, "Yeah, 5 minutes away." How do y'all know it's 5 minutes away? Hmm? Um, weird. It's so there's so much mess just in that whole entire thing. Also didn't even talk about Megan pulling Kieran, being like, "I've told you about her. I've told you about her character," and he's like, yeah, I just was here. I'm trying to say the best of everyone." Oh my god. And he also mentioned that it could be like naivete on his end. My king, Kieran, my king, right there. Yikes. The whole entire like meetup, the biggest takeaways were just Anu going off on Patrick. Nothing even after that. Patrick kind of also being, honestly, it was surprising that he was like, she has her feelings about that. We're different personalities. It is what it is. Genuinely, that's a genuine shock. Um, like, yeah, just very interesting. My takeaway is just that, like, damn, Javan, you really gotta be a hoe just out loud like that. Really. Javan and Katisha catch up afterward. So much is unsaid. So much is unsaid because they're at the apartment, they're just eating together, and it's just uncomfortable and awkward. I can't remember what was first said, but I think Katisha was like wanting to talk about something that was like more emotional, and I think she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go to bed." And then he's like, okay. And then Javen just like, hey, what's the move? What's the move? Where are you? And then he goes out. He's like, hey, and he catches up with her. It's like, hey, I'm gonna go out. That okay? And she's like, okay. I like. There's so much about Katisha that I really feel bad about her because she just doesn't. I don't feel like has the tools to even like be in tune with the fact that she's uncomfortable and the fact that she should be able to say things that are on her mind, and then she just, I'm not going to say allow herself to get walked over, but she kind of does. She allows herself to like be ignored, to be like cast away, and then the minute that she brings it up from somebody, they're like, you should have said it, and she should have. But in order for me not to victim blame, it's like, don't go for these people. But like, in order to not go for the people that treat you like garbage, she has to know how to like stand up for herself and to like find the people that encourage her to be better than like, how these people are seeing her. There's something about her. There's something about her that is like so unresolved and so unhealed. I have like 3 minutes. Okay, Javette. Okay, Megan and Kieran debrief about the messy night and about how Javen was getting touchy with people. Oh, sheesh. Honestly, let me just talk about the Javen. Javen, Megan, and Javen, Megan, and Kieran thing, because essentially, I'm just gonna close my notes. Essentially, what I took from everything about their whole entire conflict was just that, okay, of course, Javen went out, had a good little time, got a little bit too touchy, and that is all on what's her name's account, Megan's account. So Megan feels the need to tell Katisha about it. This is why I need my notes. Feels the need to tell Katisha about it, and like from the audience perspective, I'm pretty sure a majority of the audience is on Megan's side because we saw like them all getting together and Javen really just kind of being shamelessly flirting. And so when it all comes to a head and Katisha leaves him, um, Javen's like, I can't believe that she left me because of what somebody said. Somebody lied on my name. And then it's all semantics, really. It's all semantics from there. Because Katisha leaves, he has a conversation with Meg and Kieran and is like, you said that I was talking all night. I wasn't talking more than 10-15 minutes. And she's like, I'm talking about what I saw. I'm talking about what I saw. What I saw was inappropriate behavior, basically. Basically. And Javen's just like, no, but you said that I was talking for 2 hours and I was talking for 15 minutes. You said that I was doing this. I had blah, blah, blah behind me and I had blah, blah, blah to the next to me. That's the thing with like she said, like Meg said, people like Kieran, God, people like Javen will talk to death the details of indiscretions and not talk about the indiscretion to the point where they are trying to like pick it out to where it doesn't become an indiscretion anymore. It's like, oh yeah, your interpretation was so different from mine because you said I did something at 8:33 and I did something at 8:35. It's like, oh my god. Like let's get to like the meat of what is really being talked about. The fact that you were being inappropriate with other people and she wasn't around, and why wasn't she around? So why didn't you talk to her when she was clearly upset? She was clearly upset when she was in bed. But also why didn't she say something? It's just a match made in hell, basically. They're just not meant to be together, and it's so unfortunate. Because Damola would have never. Damola would have never. Oh my god. Unfortunately, I would like to go on and on about this, but I cannot. I do have to come back to the thing that I was doing before. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever time of day it is, I hope you have an amazing morning, afternoon, night. Please let me know all of your thoughts on this. I would love to know interpretations of this whole conflict. I can see some people, honestly, be on the whole semantic side. I can. But please let me know your opinion, and I would love to see it. And we'll wait and see what next episodes drop next Wednesday. Yeah. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night.